If you've been to Animal Kingdom, you know that the biggest draw in this park is the world of Avatar, otherwise known as the planet of Pandora. The food, the scenery, the theming, and who doesn't love a ride on Flight of Passage?
Pandora opened in 2017, but before any of that happened, there were plans for a much different land, Beastly Kingdom.
What happened to the scrap concept? Well, today we're gonna find out.
When Animal Kingdom opened in 1998, guests were promised a theme park experience like no other, traveling to places that people only dreamed of visiting, like Africa, Asia, and even back in time to when dinosaurs roamed the earth. However, Disney Imagineers had a much more ambitious plan for one part of the park that would have been a true spectacle.
This concept was meant to bring mythical creatures and legends to life.
This would have fit so perfectly in Animal Kingdom because it would have completed the original purpose of the park. Having a section for real animals, having a section for extinct animals, aka Dinoland USA, RIP.
Rest in peace.
And finally, a section for mythical animals.
The land was to be divided into two major areas. The good side, which focused on fantastical creatures like unicorns and centaurs. And then you had the dark side, which focused on ferocious beasts like dragons.
There were even planned attractions for the land. Quest for the Unicorn. This was planned to be a hedge maze leading guests on a journey to find the hidden unicorn. A simple attraction, but the concept art for this looks absolutely beautiful. Then you also had Fantasia Gardens, a tranquil boat ride inspired by the Disney film, where guests would peacefully sail through scenes with graceful creatures such as the Pegasus.
That makes me wonder if they were close to finishing this ride, because here in Pandora, we still do have a tranquil boat ride called the Na'vi River Journey. And what if the Na'vi woman at the end of the ride was actually supposed to be a Pegasus or a centaur? What?
As amazing as that would be, Emberlyn, unfortunately, it's just not true. In fact, Beastly Kingdom never really even got past the design and planning phase.
Well, poo.
But the fact that we still have a boat ride here when the plans for this land actually came to fruition means maybe they were inspired to keep a boat ride in there because Beastly Kingdom never came about.
Moving on to what was featured on the dark side of this land. This would have been the main ride, the one everyone would be running to this land to ride. It was called Dragon Tower, a dark, intense roller coaster through a crumbling medieval castle guarded by a fire-breathing dragon. The storyline involved stealing treasure from the dragon, blending thrills with a fantasy narrative.
That sounds so amazing, and I can't imagine how cool this whole entire land would have been. But that begs the question, with all the plans for this entire land, what happened? Why did it not come to fruition?
Several factors led to the cancellation of Beastly Kingdom. Animal Kingdom went over budget during construction. It cost around $800 million. Adjusting for inflation in 2025, that's $1,500 million. That's a lot of money. And to open the park on time, Disney needed to prioritize the animal care and natural habitats, which makes sense. They quickly found out how much it costs to take care of all these exotic animals. In all honesty, you would hope they would make the live animals their top priority. So then there was a choice. The CEO at the time, Michael Eisner, put Dinoland USA or Beastly Kingdom head to head. Who was going to win? Unfortunately, the Imagineers at Beastly Kingdom didn't want to compromise on the original ideas. So they won on the chopping block, and Dinoland USA, in fact, was supposed to look a lot different than what was originally presented to the public.
And after Animal Kingdom had its grand opening, Disney's focus shifted to other projects that took priority. They were expanding in different ways, like adding Expedition Everest here in Animal Kingdom, which of course I'm not mad at. That's my favorite ride in Disney World. And Disney also had a new Disneyland opening in Hong Kong. They had a lot going on in the early 2000s.
Because this land was put off and eventually scrapped altogether, there were some rumors that the Imagineers who worked on Beastly Kingdom were so upset with Disney that their whole land got scrapped and would never be built that they quit Disney altogether and joined Universal Creative. Talk about tea. It makes sense if it's true that they would be so upset and frustrated with something that they worked so hard at would never come to fruition, or would it?
When Universal opened Islands of Adventure, there was a ride in Lost Continent called Dueling Dragons, which people say bore a striking resemblance to the Beastly Kingdom ideas. So it looks like that hard work paid off after all, at least for a little while.
So are there Easter eggs or subtle hidden objects that point to Beastly Kingdom inside of the park? Of course, this is Disney we're talking about. It's almost like Animal Kingdom is paying respect to what this land could have been.
The Animal Kingdom Park logo is actually the most obvious Easter egg. There you'll see a silhouette of a dragon among the other animals, symbolizing mythical creatures.
And as you're walking towards the park entrance, there's a head representing each of the creatures you can find in Animal Kingdom. One obviously being for extinct animals, second being for real animals, symbolizing an elephant, and the third, a dragon for Beastly Kingdom.
Which I honestly didn't even know that was a dragon head before doing the research for this video. I thought it was just like another dinosaur, like the Triceratops. I wonder how many people make the same assumption.
I would argue a lot, if not almost everybody walking into this land misses that detail. The average park goer is not concerned about the little hidden touches like that. They just want to run right to the rides. But theme park heads like us, obviously, they're going to get it. They're going to see it. Another thing that a lot of people are missing is not just the big three heads, but also the other animal carvings that are next to the three heads. Sure, there's lions, tigers, and bears.
Oh my!
But there's also mythical creatures like the Pegasi or griffins.
In the parking lot, not that we've ever been to it, but there is a section entitled Unicorn in the shape of a unicorn.
Of course, some of the ideas for Beastly Kingdom were repurposed, thankfully. Behind me is Expedition Everest, The Legend of the Forbidden Mountain, which is people's favorite coaster. The Imagineers did an amazing job at this, but the whole point is that it's keeping the mythical creature theme alive with the cryptid of the Yeti, which I won't spoil too much, but you might see him there at the end. But the whole downfall of this ride, that's for another video.
All the more reason to love this coaster. Guys, this is the best coaster.
No.
Yes, it is!
No.
Trust
The
me,
backwards
no.
part makes you head feel like it's about to come off. There's so much pressure. No.
It's so fun.
No.
It's so fun.
I hate it. I think the biggest and coolest Easter egg is hidden by this river area behind me. There used to be an attraction here in Animal Kingdom when it first opened in 1998 called the Discover River Boats. This attraction just lasted barely over a year, but it had the biggest hidden Easter egg and the biggest hint to what this land was supposed to be on the tour.
The Discovery riverboats served as a means of transportation around the parks, with docks located at Safari Village and Discovery Island and Asia. There were 7 boats named Manatee Maiden, Leaping Lizard, Scarlet Flamingo, Otter Nonsense, Hasty Hippo, Crocodile Bell, and Darting Dragonfly. Traveling on the Discovery River around the Tree of Life, the boats would encounter a handful of creatures and experiences along the way. Now, some of these included a series of geysers on the shores of Africa, a whimsical animal water sculptures in Discovery Lagoon, the escaped iguanodon from Countdown to Extinction, or Dinosaur, playing in the water near Dinoland, USA. And then, before passing under a bridge, a static figure of a unicorn rearing up on the shoreline would appear. This was removed early in the attraction's lifespan. And after passing a dragon-shaped rock formation with water pouring through its teeth, the boats passed a cave littered with the remains of fallen knights. The fiery breath of a dragon would emerge from the cave to menace passing guests. But unfortunately, due to, again, budget cuts, a lot of the show scenes were basically taken out, and that really was the downfall of this attraction. But it's still cool that you can see the cave from where this dragon used to be. Just a little touch of Beastly Kingdom that I'm assuming will go away someday.
So then how did Disney eventually come up with the idea of filling the space with Pandora instead? Famously in 2009 at Universal, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, or Hogsmeade, was opened, which was a completely different theme park experience than anybody in the theme park universe had ever gotten to witness. It was a completely immersive world that brought the movies to real life, making fans realize this is what they wanted more than ever. Their favorite movies brought to life. Disney saw this as competition, obviously, and they wanted to compete with it all on its own. So when Avatar got released, sometime between the first movie and when they announced that they were building this land, they decided this is the direction they wanted to go. They had a completely empty land, really nothing too important that was back here, and tons of space to utilize to create the world of Pandora and partner with James Cameron on the amazing franchise of Avatar.
Okay, it's another video. Again, we're talking about how the Wizarding World really started all these IP-themed lands, but it's kind of true. But Pandora was the original rebuttal to the Wizarding World. So what does Pandora look like today? In our opinion, Imagineers really brought this beautiful world to life and did an amazing job immersing us in the world of Avatar. The two rides in the land are both special in their own ways. However, they are very different from one another and in our opinion have to be ridden in a certain order so as not to be disappointed or underwhelmed, as this land can get very crowded and draw in some long wait times. Starting with Na'vi River Journey. This attraction is a boat ride through the dark and enchanting forest of Pandora. You'll get glimpses of Pandora's wildlife and exotic plant life, all leading up to your encounter with the Na'vi. People's main complaint about this ride is the fact that you wait a long time and receive what could be conceived as a very little payout for the wait. The ride is beautiful and breathtaking, but is rather short and doesn't really follow any type of story. The biggest reason to ride this attraction, and the reason we think it's worth it, is to see the amazing Na'vi animatronic at the end, which happens to be Disney's most expensive animatronic ever built. It's because of these reasons that we recommend starting your Pandora experience here and try not to wait more than 45 minutes to an hour in our opinion. Flight of Passage. This is the true star of the show, the main attraction in this land, and even though some complain that it's only a motion simulator, the lead up, the story, presentation, and queue is truly breathtaking. All leading up to the ride where it truly feels real, at least to us. The breath of the Banshee on your legs, the splash of water on your face, and the smell, oh, this smell is legendary. It's almost an emotional experience the first time you ride it for some. The food in this land is some of the best Animal Kingdom serves, especially for quick service options. Between the different types of noodle bowls with endless combinations, the cheeseburger pods, and they just started serving breakfast, which I can't speak too much on because we haven't tried it yet, but we've heard some amazing reviews. While some may be critical of this land, we truly have fallen in love and feel Pandora has so much to offer, and we could truly stay here for hours without even riding any of the rides, just taking in the ambiance. But that begs the question, what's next for Pandora?
I don't think Disney is done when it comes to Pandora. There is so much more that they could be doing with this land. In fact, Disney has even previously hinted at expansion. When Pandora opened in 2017, there were rumors about a possible Phase 2 expansion that would be coming in the future. And especially with the new release of the Avatar sequel, it makes sense. Rumors included speculations such as walkthrough experiences with animatronics, and it would feature more of Pandora's wildlife, including a giant Torok.
And honestly, like Amberlynn said, there is room for expansion. If you look at Animal Kingdom from a Google Maps view, specifically in the Pandora section, right behind the Flight of Passage show building, there is an expansion pad where it's just is a parking lot right now where they could totally fit in another attraction or experience, at least in my opinion. But another thing I wanted to point out, at a previous expo, they showed off the technology showcasing that they could do an animatronic of a Banshee, which totally would fit this world. Obviously, there's already Flight of Passage. Imagine if there was a meet and greet experience where you got to meet a Banshee.
Oh, like in Universal with the raptor.
Exactly. If Universal can do it, Disney can do it too. In fact, they even had a meet and greet at one of those expos where you could meet a baby Banshee, just like when you can meet a baby raptor. It's a similar concept. You can tell Disney and Universal are playing off one another and trying to compete. That's the whole thing about this land, was it was all about competition of who has the best IP lands. And there's even things in this land that used to be here that aren't here, unfortunately, anymore. Like behind me, there used to be what was called a Swatuwaya Na'vi drum ceremony, which was a group of drummers that would play ceremonial Na'vi music, and they would even get the participation of the audience involved. Unfortunately, that went away with the closures of 2020, and we haven't really seen that since. In fact, they kind of really took away the interactive drums that kids used to play on and bang on. They don't work anymore. Hopefully in the future, they'll add more entertainment to this area. I would also love to see, like I said, more meet and greets. Maybe you could meet some of the Na'vi, like we talked about. Maybe you could meet a Banshee of big or small proportion. What would be awesome too is wouldn't really fit with the timeline, because this is supposed to be after the mining company got destroyed and all those guys are away. But since they come back in Avatar 2 anyways, they could totally make it so that there's mechs walking around. I almost think of that as the Transformers meet and greet that's in the Universal. You could have somebody on stilts and you can make it look like one of the mechs walking around. It wouldn't be two size like the one that's in the corner next to Satuli Canteen, but I still think it would be really cool.
But with the exciting announcement of Encanto and Indiana Jones coming to this park, it looks like all things Pandora expansion are being put off for now.
But honestly, anything could be in the realm of possibility. We know the Imagineers work so hard and they're years and years and years ahead, so they could be working on plans as we speak. We know that there was exciting announcements with the Disneyland Forever project where they announced a Avatar expansion within that whole universe. So whether it comes to Disney World or Disneyland, we know there's more Avatar, World of Pandora in our future. One thing super unique about the Pandora land here in Animal Kingdom is nighttime. A lot of times Animal Kingdom is not open late enough to see dusk and nighttime, but when you do, don't run, don't ever run. But fast walk over to Pandora because the bioluminescent lights, the Imagineers made this land to be viewed at night, day and night, but nighttime takes this land to the next level. Come here at night.
Beastly Kingdom remains one of the most talked about unbuilt Disney projects to this day, fueling fan theories and what might have been scenarios.
Yeah, and from the looks of the concept art, I think it would have been a smash hit, but we'll never know. The only thing we have close to Beastly Kingdom was Lost Continent, and even that in Universal is looking pretty sad.
Yeah, but we want to know what you think. Do you think Disney will ever revisit this land? Would you rather Beastly Kingdom be here rather than Pandora? We want to know what you think. Let us know in the comments down below.
Yeah, that way we know that you reached the end of the video and you are the true fans. And we thank you so much for watching this video. It has been a blast to film and make. And these videos take forever to make. There's a lot of research, there's a lot of editing and planning involved. And by you watching that and commenting down below, it lets us know that you enjoy these types of videos, and we will continue to put our heart and soul into making them. But until next time, I've been Cal.
I've been Amberlynn.
And you've been watching
The Adventure Gateway.